Hey guys, my name is Dean. Welcome to ManFlow Yoga. You are about to watch a full-length workout from my online members area here free on YouTube, so you can check it out and see if it's a good fit for you. I encourage you to check out some of the links in the description if you want to learn more about ManFlow Yoga, or if you want to get started with a free beginners program. I have a 7-day intro, which is free, no credit card required, and it's an awesome way to get started in just about 15 minutes per day. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. We put out tons of workouts and content every week, and I hope you enjoy this workout. Be sure to like it. Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to ManFlow Yoga. Here is an easy, gentle stretching and flexibility workout focused on your knees. So we're going to be working on your ankles, your lower legs, your thighs, your hips, and a little bit of low back and core as well, all with the aim of getting rid of joint pain or tension in your knees and helping with your lower body flexibility in general. You're going to need 2 blocks and a strap for this, and that's just going to make sure that you can do these poses in a way that works for your body. This is going to be a relatively low intensity workout, but I want you to really focus on the postures, focus on the technique, the sensations, and make sure that you're keeping your breathing slow and controlled. We're going to get started with a little bit of muscle activation for your hips and your core. Go ahead and start on your back. So starting on your back, we're going to get your core warmed up. This is going to help activating your hip muscles and taking some of the pressure out of your low back. So bring your knees in toward your shoulders. Keep your abs tight. Make sure that your chin is in toward your throat, your neck is nice and long, and you can keep your arms along your sides or straight out to the sides. From here, we're going to do some reverse crunches. So inhale to bring your legs straight out. And depending on your strength and your core or your hips, you can bring your legs lower for more intensity or higher for a little bit less. And then bring them back in with the exhale, kind of doing a crunch as you pull in. Inhale back out. Exhale, bring it in. And if this is too intense, you can do one leg at a time. So you can do single leg reverse crunches, or you can keep up with a double on your own pace. Inhaling out, exhaling back in. And then if you're doing this single, inhale, leg out, exhale, hold, inhale, switch, exhale, hold, and keep that up on your own pace. One more to each side or one more center, depending on what you're doing. All right, and then go ahead and plant your feet. From here, we're going to come up into a little bridge. So push down through your feet, squeeze your butt, press your feet into the ground. The weight is in your glutes here. If you don't feel this in your glutes, we're going to do a couple things. Pull your shoulders forward toward your feet. So squeeze to pull your shoulders forward, and then pretend you're squeezing something between your butt cheeks. So really tightening your glutes here. If you still don't feel it, try hovering one foot off the ground. Just kind of alternating back and forth, and that should help with activating your glutes. So we're just doing a little bit here. The reason for this is when we activate the muscles in your hips, that's going to draw pressure away from the knees. And getting your muscles warm is going to help them stretch better as well. All right, hold here for one more breath. If you want to do a bridge with both feet down, or you found that you had better activation switching from foot to foot, that is fine as well. Keep your abs tight. Make sure you're not hurting or arching your lower back. And then release down. Okay, find a little warm up here. I'm going to have you push both hands into your thighs and push your thighs back into your hands. Knees are over your hips, hands pushing into your thighs, and thighs pushing back into your hands. So you're having this little battle between your hands, your upper body, and your legs. If you want to add a little bit of dynamic movement to this, there's an oxymoron, dynamic movement. If you want to add a little bit of movement to this, you can kind of push your legs back and forth here. So let your legs win the battle, and then let your hands win the battle. Just kind of going back and forth here, getting your abs and your core warm. 5 more seconds. and then relax. Okay, nicely done. Should be pretty warm at this point. We're gonna flip over and grab your blocks, moving into a runner's lunge. Option here to bring your knee down if you'd like. And if you have knee pain or you have knee sensitivity, I'm gonna have you grab a towel, grab a towel, grab a towel, towel. And you're gonna put that underneath your knee for a little bit of extra cushion. This is a very gross dog towel. We actually will have knee pads shortly, so stay tuned for that. So you're gonna set up in a lunge with your hands on the blocks either side of the front foot. If your knee is sensitive, you can rest it on that towel or whatever cushion you have. But tuck the back toes to start. Come up into a runner's lunge, push down through your right foot. Make sure that the weight is in your right hip, not in your knee. And we're gonna hang out here for a little bit. Chest pulls forward and up. Put as much weight as you would like into the blocks using your arms. If this is too much tension on your knee, you can lightly relax that back knee down to the ground. Keep the toes tucked though, and whatever position you're in here, allow your inner thigh and your hip flexor to stretch. So you should feel stretching, especially through that left leg, maybe a little bit of something through the right inner thigh. And then when you get tired, go ahead and relax that back knee down. Even if you're not tired, go ahead and relax the back knee down. And from here, I want you to pull your chest forward and up slightly and start to breathe nice and deep. So as you exhale, we're allowing this left hip flexor, the front of your left hip, to open up. So this is where we get more flexible by breathing in, nice and long. And as we exhale, letting our hips sink deeper into this. Now it might take a really long time for your hips to open up. It might take 3, 4, 5, 6 long breaths, or it might happen right away. If you keep holding this, you keep breathing, and you just kind of let gravity work your hips slightly more forward and down. As you breathe, you will open up. You might not move that much, but hopefully you notice that the intensity of the stretch changes. Maybe it gets easy over time. So there are a lot of ways to measure progress, not just in moving, but also in just feeling how intense does this feel? Does it get easy over time, or does it just kind of feel the same? All right, go ahead and relax. We're going to switch sides, so go ahead and move your, if you had a little pad, move that to the right knee now. Step your left foot up, moving into a runner's lunge on the left side. Before you pick that back knee up, I want you to push down through your left foot. You'll notice that your left hip descends slightly as you do that. So pretend like you're standing up, just using the strength of your left leg. And then tucking the right toes, go ahead and squeeze your right thigh to lift the knee. And as you hold this runner's lunge, pull your chest forward and slightly up. Squeeze your right glute, that same muscle that you were working when we did the bridge at the beginning. And just kind of hold here for a couple breaths. Again, if you have knee pain here, work on putting the weight into your hips. Alternatively, you can also just release that back knee to the ground. Try a couple more breaths here in this runner's lunge. This is one of our few kind of more active poses here. We're going to be moving into a lot of stretching for the duration or for most of this workout, but this runner's lunge is one opportunity to build strength as well as flexibility. And then go ahead and slowly release that right knee to the ground. Keep the toes tucked. Try and squeeze the back of your right hip, so squeezing your right glutes. And again, kind of allow your hips to sink forward. So big breath in, see if you can get nice and tall. Puff out your chest. Fill up your entire stomach. And then exhale. Allow your hips to relax. So filling up all the way from your lower abdominal area all the way to your sternum. And then as you exhale, allow your hips to relax. So keep your shoulders relaxed, keep your face relaxed. That's going to help send a message to your hips that they can relax. And ultimately, your ability to relax dictates your ability to work into passive flexibility, which is what we're doing here. We're not really training active range of motion at the moment. This is more focused on passive flexibility. But passive flexibility is a precursor to active mobility. So we need to get there passively before we start training that range of motion actively. Take another big breath here. All right, and then go ahead and release. From here we're going to move up to a standing position, and I need you to find a wall. So we're going to be doing some stretching on the wall here. We're going to start with a standing side bend focused on your hip. So go ahead and have your right side facing the wall. Your torso is going to facing the same way we've been facing all day. Put your hands on the wall, kind of like you're doing a cartwheel. If you don't know what a cartwheel is, this is kind of what we're doing. Think of it as like a sideways push-up, okay? And then from here, I want you to press your hips toward the left. So push your right hip into your left hip, push your left hip out. You should start to feel stretching through your outer left hip and then up through the side. This is going to stretch the hip, and that's going to reduce pressure on the knee. So this all fits in together. Even if you feel like this is a side body stretch or a shoulder stretch, you are getting that hip stretch, and that's going to translate into reduced pressure on the knee. Cross your right foot over your left foot to the front of it. And then again, lightly press your hips to the left, to the outside, and breathe nice and deeply. Again, our goal here is to feel that stretch from the left hip up through the side. Use your hands on the wall to support you, and keep your breathing controlled. In and out of the nose. That's going to help you relax. Especially as you exhale, maybe pushing out just a tiny bit more. Or it could mean not moving at all and just allowing the breath to kind of relax you and get your body used to the position that you're in. 2 more breaths here. All right, and then slowly coming out of that, twisting back to face the wall, and then we're going to switch sides. So, standing now facing the back of your mat, bring your hands to the wall. Fingers are going to face that way, or whatever way your body is not facing. And then press your hands into the wall, push your hips out to the right, and then once you start to feel that stretch to the hips and the side, bend your left knee, cross it over your right foot, and holding here. Your right leg is actually going to be straight here, so make sure that you're keeping your right leg straight and lightly engaging the thighs, right? So we don't have to have a death tightness. You're not squeezing your thigh as tightly as you possibly can, but you do want to have that leg active as you press it out to the outside. And again, you're going to feel the stretch through the outer hip all the way up through the shoulder, through the entire side body to the shoulder, and that is normal. And it might feel really uncomfortable at first, especially if you haven't done this stretch before. So just keep breathing. If you need to reduce the intensity, you can bring your hips a little bit closer to the wall. But then as you exhale, maybe allowing your hips to work out a little bit more. And flexibility is it's a strength, but it's different than, your ability to generate force. Flexibility is more about having the body control to relax and allowing that muscle to stretch beyond what you think it can do. So it doesn't mean pressing your body into a position that you've never been before. It's about using your breath to help relax the muscles into opening up. So it's a different kind of strength in that it requires release instead of gritting your teeth and pushing harder. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and turn to face the wall once more. Release your hands from the wall. Great job on the side stretch. Now we're going to move into a calf stretch, and this is really important. We're working on your ankles to help kind of go up the chain and release pressure on the knees. So you're going to start in kind of this lunge stance with your hands on the wall. All 10 toes are facing straight forward. And you're going to start by pushing your right heel, left leg is forward, right leg is back, pushing your right heel into the ground and making sure that you're not allowing the arch of your foot to cave in. So keep that arch lifted, push into the outer edge and your back heel of your foot, and you can allow your hips to sink forward here. You're going to feel a big stretch here through your calf, your gastrocnemius, that is the back of your lower leg, and this attaches your ankle to your knee. So reducing tension in the knee here is facilitated by lengthening the muscle that connects to the knee from the ankle. A lot of us don't stretch our ankles or move our feet enough, and when we have mobility or a lack of mobility in the feet, that goes up the chain to the knee and can cause knee pain. So stretching your calves is really helpful here. This is a stretch that you can hold for much longer than what we're doing here. You can go up to 2 or 3, 4, 5 minutes if it feels okay, but we're going to move to a different stretch from here. I want you to bend your knee just slightly, allowing your knee to come forward and your shin to come closer to the toes. And then we're stretching a different muscle, so we're not quite stretching the calf anymore, or your gastrocnemius. Now we are stretching the muscle underneath that, which is the soleus. So you're bending your knee, you're going to feel the stretch a little bit differently. Make sure that you don't do this to the point where you feel a lot of tension in your Achilles tendon. That is the connecting the kind of the back of your foot to your calf. You don't want that to feel. If you feel like a really sharp pain, that's too much. Don't bend the knee as much or back off the stretch somehow. But we do want to feel some stretching. It should feel like it's underneath your gastrocnemius or your calf. Right, so bending the knee a little bit. Deep breaths. Just feeling that stretch a little bit differently than we did before, and holding this for another 2 or 3 breaths. And as you exhale, you're relaxing your body, you're working deeper into it. All right, now to get out of this, very gently shift your weight toward your left foot. Very easily bring your right foot forward and bring it away. It is pretty sensitive after that stretch, so make sure you don't just switch out really quickly. And then switching sides. So right leg comes forward now, left foot is back. We're going to make sure those left toes are pointed straight at the wall. Keep your back leg straight, push into the heel of your back foot, press down through the toes and the outer edge of your foot. Make sure that the arch of the foot is lifted here, and then allow your hips to sink forward, working into this kind of lunge we have against the wall, focused on your calves. So if you want to make this more intense, if you want to make this less intense, you can turn your toe out a little bit, right? Turn it to the outside, kind of more toward what would be a warrior one position. If you want to make this more intense, you're actually going to turn it in just a little bit. All right, so instead of turning it out, we're doing a little bit of internal rotation, and that's going to make this even more intense. My recommendation, just keep it facing straight forward and work on breathing and allowing your calf or your gastrocnemius to open up. If you want to put less weight on your upper body and more into the hips, you can bring your right foot a little bit closer to that wall. A couple more breaths here, stretching your ankles. And also, again, stretching your calf, releasing pressure on the knee. Make sure that you're pushing that knee back. You're keeping that leg as straight as you can here. You might also feel stretching through the front of your left hip as you do this. And again, if you'd like, you can hold this stretch for a few minutes if you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. Go for it. Just make sure that you're keeping the tension. It doesn't feel like anything is getting too intense. But we're going to move on to that soleus stretch. I want you to bend your knee, allow your shin to come closer to your foot, the top of your foot, and then holding here. So if you're feeling or you're experiencing a lot of pain or tightness in the Achilles tendon, if you notice that your Achilles feel really tight, or maybe you feel a sharp pain in your Achilles tendon, this is going to help with relieving that tension. So if you can do this a few days a week, especially when you do feel that Achilles flaring up, just make sure that you're doing this in a way that doesn't aggravate it. Right? So we want to make sure we're stretching the muscle, not stretching the Achilles tendon. And use this in a restorative way. You want to make sure that you're not doing this and then going into a workout. You want to use this as a stretch, let your body recover, and then do something a few hours later if you are going to do a workout. A couple more breaths here. You can maybe bring that shin a little bit closer to the toe. Last breath. All right, and then again, slowly getting that weight out of the left foot, putting it into your right foot. All right, nice job. Remember, we're going to move into a wide-legged stance. You take your block or your blocks, push into the outer edges of your feet, squeeze your thighs toward one another in a wide-legged stance. We're actually not going to forward fold here. I want you to use the blocks to pull your chest forward and up, keeping your back flat. And then from here, turn your left toes slightly out. You're going to bend into your left knee and allow your groin to stretch. Keep your right quadriceps engaged. And again, we can use the blocks here. So inhale to maintain. Push down through your left heel. Keep the weight in the hip. And as you exhale, stretch a little bit more into the hips. 2 more breaths here. Allowing your hips to sink into this. If you do notice pain in the knee, put the weight in your hips. Bring your butt a little bit further back. All right, and then bring it back to the middle. Make sure the left toes are facing slightly in. Turn your right toes slightly out. And then bend into your right knee now. Keep the weight in your right hip. Best way to do that, make sure you're driving down through your right heel and squeezing your right glute. All right, so not letting your knee kind of cave in at all. Keeping your weight centered in the hips, not leaning too far toward your right foot. And we've got 3 breaths here as well. All right, and go ahead and straighten the right leg. Turn your feet to face to the outside. Bend your hips a little bit, or bend your knees. Drop your hips and stand up all the way. All right, I've got a couple more to go. We're going to take it down to the ground into a supported lizard. Blocks are in the middle of the top of the mat. Right foot is outside the block. Hands to the block. Take a big step back with your left foot here and allow your hips to start relaxing toward the floor. We're going to stay active initially, okay? So legs squeezing toward one another, squeezing your back thigh, pulling your chest forward and up. And then go ahead and release that back knee to the ground. If you want that extra cushion, it's sensitive for the knee, throw a towel under it. If you don't need it, don't worry about it. And allowing your hips to sink forward. Feeling the stretch through the inner right thigh, also through the front of your left hip. 1 more breath here. Okay, and then we're going to switch sides. So I'm going to have you bring your right leg back to transition. Start with your left foot outside the blocks. Tuck your back toes. Lift the knee. Pull the chest forward. And I want you to kind of crawl that right foot back as far as you can while maintaining strength in this position. So legs squeezing toward one another, pulling the chest forward and up. Squeeze your right glute. Lift your back knee. Just a couple breaths here. And then slowly releasing that right knee to the ground, pulling the chest forward and up, allowing that right hip to sink forward. And just taking a couple breaths here. Every exhale, relaxing just a little bit more, making sure that you're keeping your face, your shoulders relaxed, breathing nice and deep. Okay, and then from here, we're going to take it onto your back, grab a strap, roll onto your back, bring your left leg straight out, so keep it flat on the ground. Bring the strap around your right foot, bring it straight up in the air, pull your leg in toward your face, and then press the back of your right leg away from you at the same time. So you're squeezing your right leg in while pressing the back of the knee away from you, kind of straightening that leg, and then flex your toes down. And this is going to stretch the entire back of your right leg. This is another one of those stretches that you can hold for a really long time. So if you have the time for it, and if it's feeling good and you notice that this leg needs a lot of work, maybe it's really tense and it just doesn't want to open up, then you can try holding it for a longer time. Again, maybe 2, 3, 4, even 5 minutes if you really feel like it. Just for the sake of time and making sure that we're moving from one pose to the next. We're not going to hold it for that long here, but make sure that you are breathing in and out of the nose, pressing the back of the knee away, and also pulling that leg in at the same time to make sure you're getting or spending your time wisely in this stretch. And then from here, I'm going to have you transfer the strap to your left hand. Keep your right hip down, bring your leg over to the left, and this is going to shift the stretch, still feeling it in the back of the thigh, but now also feeling it in the outside of your right thigh. And this is a really, really good one for the knee, because this muscle, your outer quadricep and the abductors, your outer thighs, get really tight when you're sitting, and that pulls on the knee. So that muscle tightness in the outer thigh and the outer hip pulls on the knee, and it can cause that knee pain that we're trying to get rid of here. Straighten the leg if you can, bring it a little bit closer in. Make sure you're keeping that right hip on the ground. Very important here, don't let your hip come off the ground and turn this into a twist. Keep your right hip down. Last breath. All right, then bring it back to the middle. We're going to switch sides. So bring your left foot into the strap. Right leg comes straight out. You're going to pull your leg back toward you. And if that means that your leg is kind of more at 135 degrees as opposed to 90 degrees, that's fine. As long as you're feeling the stretch in the back of the thigh, that's what we're after here. Make sure there's no pain in the back. You can lightly keep your abs engaged to help prevent that. And then again, maybe lightly pressing the back of your left knee forward and flexing your toes down to make this stretch a little more active. And every exhale, just trying to send a message to your body to relax a little bit more. And when you're ready, we're going to bring this over to the right, keeping your left hip down, transferring the stretch to the outer left thigh, and depending on whichever leg is dominant. So for me, if you kick with your right leg, your left leg is dominant, because that's the leg that you plant on. So most of us do have a dominant leg. If your left leg is the dominant leg here, this stretch will feel a lot more intense on this side as opposed to the right side. So that is normal. It's okay. Continue to breathe. As you exhale, relax. Keep that left hip on the ground. A couple more breaths. And again, you're welcome to press pause and hold this for longer, just like any of the other stretches we've done in this workout. Go ahead and bring your leg back to the middle. Take the strap off and sit up. We've got one more stretch. This is a modified couch stretch, all right? So a couch stretch is bringing basically your leg up the wall like you're about to see me do here. What we're going to do to make it a little bit easier is bend your knee and bring your foot a little bit further away from the wall. So instead of bringing your knee all the way up to the wall and the top of your foot facing the wall, bring your leg slightly forward and allow yourself to tuck your toes on the wall. From there, you're going to do a little bit of a lunge with your left foot and keep your chest down. Now, this is level 1 here. Allow your hips to sink forward, relax your knee onto that towel, and keep your toes tucked on the wall. This is level 1. To make this more intense, you're going to come more upright, maybe coming up onto the knee, but not leaning back all the way just yet. And then if you want to make it more intense, leaning back until your shoulder is directly above the hip, tailbone reaching down, and tightening your right glute. You don't need to do that. If you're feeling it, if you're here with your hands on the ground and you're feeling a great stretch through the front of the right hip, that's what we need to do here. That's our goal. Take 3 breaths here. Allowing that hip flexor to relax. All right, and then to get out of that, bring your chest forward, bring your left leg out, and switch sides. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. So again, your left knee is going to go, or same thing for the opposite side. Left knee is going to go on the towel, relaxing there. Make sure that the bottom of your toes is on the ground, so your foot is not entirely extended on the wall, like so. You've just got the bottom of the toes on the ground. That's going to be a lot easier on this stretch. Right leg comes out, allow your hips to sink forward, and this is our starting position for the couch stretch. This is a modified position here that allows you to get the same benefit without doing what someone who's super mobile is able to do. So chest relaxing, right foot pressing into the ground, feeling the stretch through the front of the left hip, pulling the chest forward and up as your body adjusts to this. And as you exhale, your hips might come closer to the ground. To make this more intense, you can bring your hands to your right thigh. You can even bring your chest on top of your shoulders, your shoulders on top of your hips. Pull your belly button toward the back wall. And that's going to be way more intense, but you're welcome to do that if you want to. But again, the goal here is to just feel the stretch. And it is intense. You should probably be feeling the stretch at an intensity of about 5 to 7. If you're feeling it at like a 2 or a 3, I would work your way deeper into this. If you're feeling this at a 10 or a 9, that's too much and back off. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're not feeling this too intensely, otherwise it's not going to work. Take a couple more breaths here. And then release. All right, and that is it. So guys, that was our workout, right around 30 minutes. Focused on your knees, but we did target all of the areas that connect to that. Your back should also be feeling better at the end of this. You should be way more mobile in your hips, particularly in your hip flexors, your quadriceps, and your calves, your ankles, and your soleus, right? So pretty much everything from the sides of your body and down in this workout. So my recommendation, you might not always have time to do this full workout when your knees hurt. You want to work on your flexibility for your knees. So think about the exercises that were most effective for you. Which of these postures did the most for your body, or was the most difficult to do, or which ones had the most notable benefits immediately after doing them, and then use those on a regular basis. And as far as if you're watching this in the Manful Yoga community, part of the Manful Yoga community watching this in the members area, I encourage you to leave a comment. It helps inspire someone else to do a workout. And if you need something to say, talk about which one of these exercises was most beneficial for you. So let me know here in the comments section below. which posture, which stretch worked best or was most effective for you. Thanks for being part of the Manful Yoga community. Looking forward to seeing you on the other workouts, and have a good day. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that workout. Hope you learned something new. Try to make these workouts very helpful in terms of technique, in terms of learning how to properly engage muscles and build strength with yoga. If you're looking for more workouts, I encourage you to check out the rest of the videos on this YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure I have over 1,000. And if you want more, if you're looking for an organized program to get started, I highly recommend checking out the Manful Yoga members area. It's just $1 to get started with a 7-day trial. So thanks for watching. I hope you subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to like this video if you liked any of it. It's really helpful, and I hope to see you on future videos.